Yes, next is buoyancy. What is meant by buoyancy is when you consider any object which is either fully or it has been partially if it is immersed in the fluid. Okay, here it is fully immersed. What happens? It displaces certain amount of water. So when it has been immersed, what happens? Certain amount of water rises up. Okay, and that displaced fluid exerts an upward force on the body. Because of that displaced fluid, this body will experience a upward force. The upward force exerted by the fluid that opposes the weight of the immersed fluid, that is called as a upthrust. So which upward force which objects with the weight of the object, that is upthrust, or the other word is buoyant force. Okay, and this phenomena is called as a buoyancy. Okay, so when a body is partially or it is fully immersed in a fluid, it exerts a force. The force which is taking place here is an upward force, and that upward force is called as a upthrust or the buoyant force, and this phenomena is called as a buoyancy. Yes, clear with what is a buoyancy? Yes, then so this is Archimedes principle. Okay, so this body is now partially being immersed in the fluid like this. Then for this object there is a buoyant force, so which is acting in the upward direction. So this is a weight of the object which acts downwards. Okay, and so this buoyant force is called as the upthrust, and this process is called as what? Buoyancy. Clear? Archimedes principle states, what it says is when the body is partially or wholly immersed in a fluid, it experiences an upthrust which is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced. Okay, so that upthrust is equal to the weight of the fluid which is displayed, and the upthrust acts through the center of gravity of the liquid displaced. So what is the center of gravity of the liquid? About that upthrust acts. The upthrust or buoyant force is equal to the weight of the liquid. So upthrust or the buoyant force is equal to the weight of the liquid. This is a main statement in this Archimedes principle. Okay, so already what we have seen is when we consider any object which is immersed, so that object will experiences an upward force. That upward force is called as what? Upward thrust or buoyant force. Yes, and here according to Archimedes principle, this upward thrust is equal to what? The weight of the fluid displaced. So how much is the weight of the fluid displaced? That much will be the force. Okay, and so this is the statement of Archimedes principle. Clear? Next is law of flotation. It is well known that boats, ships, and some wooden objects move on the upper part of the water. We say they float, is it not so? If you consider the boat, okay, so it floats in the water, and the ships and even some wooden objects, what it does? It floats on the water. So that flotation can be defined as a tendency of an object to rise up to the upper levels of the fluid or stay on the surface of the fluid. Okay, so tendency of the object. So with what tendency this object rises up to the upper levels or it stays on the surface of the fluid. Okay, so that tendency is said to be the flotation. Okay, so flotation can be defined as a tendency of the object to rise up to the upper levels of the fluid or to stay on the surface of the fluid. Okay, so the law of flotation states that a body will float in the liquid if the weight of the liquid displaced by the immersed part of the body equals the weight of the body. Okay, so if suppose you consider this to be the weight of the body, okay, and this is being immersed in this fluid, so this fluid will get displaced when this object floats in the fluid. Okay, suppose if the weight of the object is 300 kg, then 300 kg of water will be displaced. Suppose you consider any object of 10 kg, okay, that immerses in the water. Okay, then it just displaces 10 kg of water. So 10 kg of water, if it is displacing, then it can float in the water. Okay, so this is the concept of law of flotation. Law of flotation states that a body will float in a liquid if the weight of the liquid displaced by the immersed part equal to the weight of the body. Okay. Then examples of flotation body is a person can swim in the sea water more easily than the river water. Okay, so sea water it is a still water. Okay, whereas river water it is a moving water. So in the moving water we cannot displace with any water, whereas in the sea water our weight can be displaced. Okay, the next is ice which floats on the water. Okay, so ice cubes which is floating on the water. Next is ship which is made up of steel, but its interior is made to be hollow. Yes, by giving a concave shape. Yes, so these all are examples of floating bodies. Clear? Thank you.